Welcome to the Idaho Fishing Report. Whether you are planning just a couple of hours or a full weekend of fishing, this is your one-stop place for all the information you need to plan your trip. It's all right here, from weather forecasts and reservoir levels to the latest stocking reports and expert advice. And now, the host of Idaho Fishing Report, Jeff Cullers.
Well, hello, anglers, and welcome. I am indeed Jeff Cullers, and this is the Idaho Fishing Report for April 28, 2023. We're almost at the end of the month here, and we have a really great weekend as far as the weather's concerned. Very excited about what's going to be happening here this weekend. And so we have all that information you need, from boat ramp information, water levels. We have your stocking report, fishing tournaments. It's going to be a great weekend. Stick around. You'll get that moon phase report. All right. I am Jeff Cullers, and this is the Idaho Fishing Report. All right, just want to remind you that the Idaho Fishing Report weather forecast is being brought to you by the Idaho Horsemen, Idaho's only indoor professional football team. Check out their schedule at gohorseman.com. Posse up. All right, let's get into that weather. Starting over in the Magic Valley, sunset around 8:41 p.m. All right, as I said in the teaser, it is going to be a beautiful weekend. Highs over there going to be in the mid to upper 80s through the weekend, and then mid to lower 80s through Wednesday. It's going to dip down Thursday into the low 70s, and so chance of thunderstorms pretty good around Thursday. Probably about 49%. So keep an eye on that if you're heading out next week. Going to be a little windy, 12 to 20 miles an hour. So again, just be mindful of that. Saturday looks to be about your best day. Mostly sunny, 1% chance of rain, and single-digit winds. All right, over in the Treasure Valley, let's look at Mountain Home. Sunset there also around 8:35 p.m. Again, another beautiful weekend. Highs in the upper 80s, lower 90s through the weekend. Wind's not too bad Saturday, Sunday, so that's going to be really good. Starting to get a little cooler, mid 80s through Wednesday, and again, mid 70s on Thursday. 23% chance of rain. Going to be a little windy the first part of the week, so keep an eye out for that. But other than that, looks pretty good. All right. Over in Boise, sunset around 8:44 p.m., mid to upper 80s through the weekend, mid 80s through Wednesday, and then mid 70s on Thursday. Winds aren't too bad, 6 mile an hour on Saturday, 10 to 12 through most of the rest of the week, 24% chance of rain on Thursday, our best chance of rain for this week. Up the Double Nickel to Cascade, sunset around 8:46 p.m., upper 60s, lower 70s through the weekend. Very little wind, very little chance of rain. It's going to be really nice. That changes on Monday. Still going to see highs in the upper 60s to mid 60s, but chance of rain starts to pick up on Wednesday, and then really good chance of afternoon thunderstorms on Thursday, a 58% chance of rain. All right, let's head over to the Idaho-Oregon border, the Snake River Reservoir area. Sunset will be around 8:50 p.m. Highs in the mid 80s through the weekends, lower 80s first part of next week. So this is actually going to be kind of cooler, which normally this is a little bit warmer. We're going to see a little bit cooler there. Very little chance of rain, except for Monday. There's about an 18% chance of rain. And then the same thing on Thursday, almost a 60% chance of rain. So it looks like we got a storm rolling in on Thursday. So keep an eye out on that. And that is your weather report for the southern Idaho area. All right, fresh off his class, all about the bass, owner and creator, Tightlines 208, Jordan Rodriguez, joins us again this week for that Tightlines 208 hot tip of the week. Jordan, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Jeff. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you bet. All right, so we're going into our first almost 90-degree weekend. It's going to be a great weekend as we head into fully, I think, into spring now. So super excited about that.
It does feel that way. It's been a long time coming.
It has.
So, just a nice, friendly reminder to be nice and try to be efficient with your loading and unloading at the ramps. And there's going to be a lot of folks out. So,
for sure.
share and share alike.
That's right. All right. What is that Tightlines 208 hot tip of the week?
Well, I hate to do it, Jeff, but we're going to talk about some math. Math has never been my strongest suit, but I had a cool experience on a recent trip that we were doing some pretty complicated math, at least by fishing standards, and it got me to thinking, when you're trolling, a lot of times there's some math that comes into play, or it should be something that you're thinking about
for sure.
Where those fish are in the water column and how to present to those fish. So on this particular trip, we were presenting to crappie that were in like 30 to 40, 45 feet of water. So kind of deep.
Yeah.
But scattered fish, not like big, huge clouds of fish. So we felt like trolling was the best way to present rather than try to vertical jig on them. So when you're trolling at those depths, and the ways that I like to troll for crappie is I'm usually using some kind of crankbait. So the crankbaits dive on their own to 10 to 12 feet, these particular models, and of course cranks can dive to all kinds of different depths depending on how they're engineered. So using the downriggers, then it's like, okay, so we want to get to 30, 35 feet. We set the downriggers to like 22, 24, something like that. And then with the dive of the crankbait, then you're actually getting down into the 30s, right?
Yeah.
If you were using trout or kokanee, kind of like spinning gear with the flasher and all that type of thing, those don't really dive beyond, where you set them. So you basically need to set them kind of right where they're at. Another factor on top of all this is thinking about how fish feed. And for the most part, fish, their eyeballs are located on the top side of their heads. Crappie in particular, they're like looking straight up. So they're going to come up to hit a bait. So if the fish are consistently showing up at 35, then you probably want to be presenting at like 32 or 33. And if this all sounds like super specific and a little bit nerdy, like it totally is, but these are kind of the little micro adjustments and the little things that you can do to turn, a slow trip into a good trip or a good trip into a great trip. Kind of capping off all this that we were doing. So I have 2 downriggers on my boat. So we were doing that on both sides of the boat. We were also running a leaded line rod out the middle. And that one, if you've ever fished with lead core line, it's usually about 6 feet per color. And it's colored as it comes off the spool in lengths of about 30. I want to say it's about 30 yards a piece. So, you're trying to get down again with the diving plug. You want to get probably about 4 colors out, which would put you at like 24 feet. And then you're getting the diving of the crankbait beyond that. So we had like multiple things. We're trying to figure this all out. We're doing it all on the fly. And of course, you're adjusting and moving things around. And then the fish also are not a static target. They move around, and sometimes they'd be up a little shallower. We had to bring the baits up. Sometimes we'd see them down a little deeper. We'd drop a little deeper. So it was a fun challenge, and we caught some great crappie, plenty for the frying pan. And these are like the big 14-inch white crappies they have out at CJ.
Nice.
So it all paid off in the end, but maybe made me think I should have paid a little more attention in math class.
Yeah, well, all right. So I know both you and I graduated from Boise State, and neither one of us graduated in math. We both graduated out of the media department. So, yeah, math is hard. There's a reason I didn't take math classes and I went into comm, because math is hard. But it's funny how when we put it to fishing, it starts to kind of become easy for us with that. And I think everything you talked about was right on. But let's talk about that average person who doesn't have the downriggers or the leaded line. There's other things that you can do too. Length of line, how fast you're trolling. Those are things also that can kind of control how deep those crankbaits go, because I do the same thing you do at CJ. with those crappie, that's the best thing I find is hitting them with the crankbaits and trolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, if you the downriggers are really kind of a shortcut, or they make it a lot easier to dial this in. If you don't have downriggers, then you have to start using things like sliding weights or snap-on weights, and are using half an ounce or using a full ounce. They don't sit right under the boat, so you don't get any kind of a marking on them usually from your electronics. So there's a lot more guesswork in that. And of course, there are all kinds of formulas you can find about, for every mile per hour and every ounce of weight, you're going to be going approximately yay deep. So there are ways of doing it, but it actually requires even more math and even more thought process than what I was doing. So it's all possible, of course, but I do find, that a lot of your average folks, we're just grabbing stuff off the shelves, and it's like, we know that panfish jigs will work to catch panfish, and so we grab them. We know that crankbaits will work to catch bass, so we grab them. But sometimes it pays to put a little more thought into, well, what diving depth of crankbait compared to what type of shoreline structure am I fishing? So that it's doing that nice little banging off the rocks occasionally, but not getting hung up too much. Things like with jigs, fall raise. So, what you grabbed off the shelf is maybe a 1/16 ounce weight, but did you ever stop and think that a 1/32 ounce falls much slower in the water column? And on some days, especially early in the season like this, as the water temperatures haven't gotten the fish all the way activated yet, that slower fall rate might outfish a faster fall rate, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. So there's just, again, little micro adjustments, little things to think about and research and experiment with that at the end of the day all make us all better anglers.
And that's the difference between fishing and catching, and that's what Tightlines 208 is all about, my friends. So make sure you check them out, tightlines208.com. Jordan comes on each and every week and gives that expert tip. Jordan, how can the fans connect with you more just outside of the website?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram, Tightlines208. It's all fishing related stuff. Lots of good pictures and fun stuff on there. Occasionally I post videos and things as well. So that's always fun. I would encourage listeners, if you're interested in classes, if you're interested in kind of taking your game to the next level, get on our email list. It's the best way to get the first shot at all classes. So anytime I open a new class, I email the students on my list, and they get the first shot. So, and oftentimes it sells out quickly, and I don't even get to do any marketing to the public. So if you want to get in on the classes, that's the best way. You can visit my site, you can look at what we offer, and then you can shoot me an email. It's all listed there at tightlines208.com. And you can get on that insider list. I don't spam. I don't send emails all the time. I just send an email when have a new class open for registrations. And so that's the best way to make sure you can get your spot. And I guarantee you'll learn something. Whether you're a beginner, you'll probably learn a lot of things then. But even if you have some fishing experience, it's always fun to come and learn some things and meet lots of people who are there to talk about fishing and learn about fishing. And it's a great little community we have. So encourage the listeners to check that out. Like I mentioned, my fly fishing class for May is already sold out. But email me, get on that list. You can even get on a waiting list in case the spot opens up. And for sure you'll have first dibs the next time we open that or any other class in the future.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, that sage advice about getting on the email list, because like you said, that next class is sold out, so no opportunity to get into that. But, well, Jordan, we thank you for joining us. We know you're very busy, and we appreciate you coming on each and every week, and we look forward to talking to you again next week, my friend.
Thanks, Jeff. Tight lines, everybody. Enjoy that nice weather.
Amen. All right. Take care.
Hey, do you want to be part of the show? Email us with questions or your fishing report from your last trip. You can email us at gemstatefishing208 myfish@gmail.com. Want to send me pictures of your fish? Send it to myfish@gemstatefishing.com. And if you have questions about the show or want something answered, email us at questions@gemstatefishing.com.
All right, let's get into that regional update with your reservoir level and boat ramp information. Over in the Magic Valley, Lake Walcott sitting at 92% full. With an elevation of 4244, the boat ramp is open. Littlewood still sitting around 28% with an elevation of 5187. The Littlewood boat ramp is open. Milner is up a little bit at 66% full, and there is no boat ramp information available for Milner. CJ Strike still sitting at 100%, 54 feet. Anderson Ranch, 75% full with an elevation of 4172. All boat ramps are open. Arrow Rock is down a little bit, 33% full with an elevation of 3137. However, still the high ramp and low ramps are still open. Lucky Peak, 52% full. We finally broke 3,000 over there, 3,001. So that means that Spring Shore Slips is now open, along with Spring Shores Main and Turner Gulch. Lake Lowell, 75% full with an elevation of 2526. All right, Cascade up that double nickel there. 63% full at Lake Cascade with an elevation of 4818. All ramps except French Creek, Buttercup, and Cicero are open. Not much change there. Deadwood's at 54% full with an elevation of 5308. Cozy Cove Boat Ramp is open. All right, Man Creek, biggest riser this week, 41% full with an elevation of 2861. Both boat ramps are open. Brownlee up to 2038. Almost all boat ramps are open. Steck is open, but it only has 2 usable feet, so be mindful of that. So Woodhead and Steck on the Idaho side are still open. Over on the Oregon side, only Spring Recreation boat ramp isn't open. Yeah, so that's it for that, for your reservoir level and boat ramp information.
Hey, guess what, listeners? We have a new website. That's right, it's gemstatefishing.com. Go there to check out all the links because you can get all the information we provide here. You can also contact us through the site.
All right, let's look at that stocking report and fishing tournaments. Some pretty good stocking this week. Lower Goose Creek Reservoir, or some of you may know it as Oakley Reservoir, 10,000 fish are being stocked. Richfield Canal has 1,000. Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir has 18,000 being stocked, and Stone Reservoir has 2,200. Over in the southwest side, Eagle Island Park Pond, 450. Horseshoe Bend Mill Pond, 700. The Loman Ponds, 600. And Lucky Peak, 6,775 fish will be stocked. All right, let's look at the fishing tournaments. I only saw one down in the south end of our state. That includes Magic Valley and the Southwest, and that's on April 29th. That's the Magic Valley Bassmasters. They'll be using that Black Sands boat ramp over at CJ Strike. And that is your stocking and fishing report for this week.
You can find us on Facebook groups, or you can follow us on Twitter at Idaho_report.
All right, it is time for that moon phase report. First quarter, April 27th. So just this week, the full moon rolls around next week, May 5th. Apogee is April 28th, and perigee is May 11th. All right, so this beautiful weekend is only going to be dampened by this poor moon phase. With the moon being in apogee, and smack dab in the middle of apogee, and the first quarter just behind us, the peak times are going to be mainly in the fair. We'll see one good peak between 10 a.m. and noon, also overnight during the weekend. Now, the first part of next week, the peaks start to get stronger over the first part of that week and into next weekend. Honestly, if I'm looking at it, your best day as far as moon phase goes is going to be Thursday next week, with strong peaks around 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. But with that storm front moving in, it might be Wednesday, so maybe 1 and 7 on Wednesday. But that is going to be your moon phase report for this week. All right, well, it is time for my grade. So weather-wise, I'd give it an A. This is a great weekend to get out, do something. Even if it's just getting on the boat and getting out there and being in the sunshine and soaking up some of this warmth, because by golly, we need it. As far as fishing goes, I'm gonna have to bring it down one. I'm gonna have to give it a B, which is really too bad because of the ample sunshine that we're gonna get. However, again, like I said, I'd still get out there. One thing I would tell you to be mindful of the winds, especially over in the Magic Valley on Sunday and Monday. But other than that, it's a good weekend to be out, and my grade is a B. All right, folks. Well, it's been a great show. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got the information that you need. Remember, you can find all of our stuff that you need on our website. That's right on our website at gemstatefishing.com, and we just want to make sure that you have that. So even if you need it and you can't find the show, you can always find the links on there. I want to thank everybody for coming along, and to the Idaho Horsemen for being a wonderful sponsor. They got a game May 6th. I highly recommend you go check that out. You can find it at gohorseman.com. If you can't get to the game, Good Boy Studios, who sponsors the show, will be live streaming it. So go to goodboystudios.com and they can help you find that. Speaking of Good Boy Studios, have you ever had an idea for a great podcast but just didn't know how to get it started? Starting your own podcast is as easy as contacting Good Boy Studios and letting us help you get your great idea out of your head and into listeners' ears. We can teach you how to write, edit, produce, and publish your own podcast, or we can handle all those tasks and you show up to record. Contact us today to learn more at goodboystudios.com. That's good, BOI studios.com. And Good Boy Studios can help you launch your idea into reality. All right, well, that is going to put a wrap on our show. Thank you for listening. Be safe out there. Enjoy this weekend. I know I'm going to. And send us some of your fish pictures. We'd love to see those. And you can just email them right to us. I'm Jeff Cullers, and I'll see you on the water.
We would like to thank you for listening to the Idaho Fishing Report, and would like to remind you to visit our website, gemstatefishing.com, or you can find us on Facebook or YouTube. I'd like to thank our sponsors, our guests, and experts, as well as you, our listener, for making this show possible. This has been an Old Man Studios production. Join us next week for another episode of the Southern Idaho Fishing Report.